All right, we're live again for another Whale Club Hangout, episode 17. Today we have Tradewave, and we have their CTO, Saikaran Urim, and he's been nice enough to have me call him Sai through the rest of this. So, Sai, thanks for joining us on
Uh,
Whale Club Hangout.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the effort you guys put in to put this together. So just about a Tradewave. Tradewave is a community-oriented algo trading platform, and it's meant for all forms of traders. Traders who employ simple technical analysis to quantitative traders who use statistical and probability models to predict the market. So that's Tradewave. About myself, I have about 15 years plus experience in engineering background, mostly big data problems. And technology has always, especially in financial markets, always fascinated me. So not only that, I've learned a lot during this last year and built my own strategies as well. Tradeweb itself was started in spring 2014. We had one exchange then. Now we support all major exchanges, and we have a few hundred active traders who contribute to the platform. And I'll get back to that, what that means. So that's a bit about Tradewave and about myself.
All right, and then as far as like your direct team that you have supporting you and building the platform,
Sure.
can you give us a little bit about their
Yeah.
background?
So James, who's the co-founder, he lives in London, and two of the devs who live in New York City, and I myself, I'm in San Francisco. So we all are remote. That's kind of, I guess how the Bitcoin is in general. But so James and I met in New York City last year, and we just discussed about Bitcoin and trading. And his background is in technology as well, but he also has his product knack. So he built the initial framework and also got the community going, which is the backbone of our platform. And then two other are developers who are working in City. Their background again is mostly in backend platform integration, exchanges, latency reductions in I/O and stuff like that. So there's a gamut of specialties we have, and we pretty much wear all different hats all the time. So that's kind of our background team. And then we have support from our investors who help us with marketing channels and other distribution models too. So.
And can you name some of those? I think those are some pretty big names, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so DCG is is that what you asked? Digital Currency Group is one of our investors,
Yeah.
and so they invested in pretty much all Bitcoin-related startups like Coinbase, BitPay, just name a few. So that gives us Barry Silbert is leading that group, and their goal is to invest in Bitcoin startups and also create a portfolio of companies who can work together, create what I call like a Bitcoin related, anywhere from creating like just a general sense of for mainstream users to policy changes or policy introductions. So they do pretty much everything between that. And it's a good support too. They work really hard to help us out.
All right. And before we get into the actual nuts and bolts of what Tradewave does, give us the platforms that you currently support, because a lot of us are really active traders. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have the support for a platform, it's kind of like something that we're gonna probably bring up right away.
Sure. So when you say platform, I assume you meant exchange, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we support, and it's on my front page. Basically, we support. So start with Bitfinex, Bitstamp, coinsetter, Coinbase, Okcoin. What else are we supporting? And we support Kraken, Bitstamp, BTC-e, and in the future we want to introduce Hubi and Bitsa, which is a Mexican exchange. So those are two recently that's coming up. We also plan to add MTGOX. I know it's not there anymore, but we want to use their backtesting data only. So they're the data that they have can prove us and for strategy backtesting. So that could help us too. So those are the
Yeah, let's definitely go into that backtesting because I know a number of the people that are on the panel currently have utilized that quite extensively.
Sure.
And I do hear a lot of good things about the backtesting. So can you just give some color as to, to people that might not be familiar, why it's so valuable to the backtesting that you have?
So there are two ways you could do it today. So when we started off, just to kind of give you a background, when we started off, it was mostly designed for geeks, so guys like us, right? So when we logged in, we were given this pretty much a clean slate of a Python editor, and you just simply write your code against whatever intervals you want to write. So and then we felt that there might be users out there who are traders who are more used to like platforms like, let's say, TradeStation, or just using the traditional E-Trade type of applications. So we designed a scribe, which is basically a visual editor that allows you to choose different signals, and based on those signals, the decisions you want to make, buy or close a position, open a position, so on and so forth. So that's just basically behind how you do backtest today. So the idea was pretty simple, is that I want to have a strategy that I want to run live. How do I gain confidence in that strategy? How do I know that this strategy will actually work? And pretty much everybody knows that past tends to predict future. So if I can test certain patterns in the past, and if I'm able to make profits on that, or whatever is your strategy, going short or going long, if I can prove that using past patterns, chances are that the future patterns, you might encounter that and be able to make whatever decision you want to make. So that was the basic idea behind the backtesting. So the way it works is what you want to do is basically you write code against different intervals, whether it's a minute to an hour to 12 hours to 24 hours, based on that, and then you get a candle data, which you then write against, say, it's the closing price, against, let's say, last 20 days short versus high SMAs. You can write. I'm trying to simplify it, and I want to make sure I don't want to go too details. I don't want to give too high levels. So hopefully I'm finding the balance. But anyway, so we provide you with multiple libraries, so such as all indicators, so you can access that. So it's SMA, MACD, VW, AP, or whatever indicators that you are fancy, you can use them and then make decisions based on that. Whatever signals that you feel right, you can make decisions on that. So that's the general idea of backtesting. And then once you are satisfied with it, then you can simply run that against onto your live trading. So hopefully that kind of gives you a good background on backtest. Does that work?
Yeah, I just want to turn it over to Flipper. Hopefully, his mic on. He brought in a really good, point to make, that a lot of us are over on TradingView, and we have a lot of custom indicators on how we can get those over to Tradewave. I'll bring Flipper in. Flipper, is your mic on? Oh, it's unplugged. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. So basically, yeah, sum it up. TradingView uses Pine script. Pip, you could probably come in. Pip.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, but I mean, and I hate to say it, but it's probably inappropriate because TradingView is, I think, developing the competing platform. Just if that makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't want to take the focus away from Tradewave, which seems to be offering a really great service with the Python editing.
Okay, so they would just have to program in Python, and then they could use their custom script to backtest against the data, the database that Tradewave has, correct?
As a coder and a trader both, like somebody that's into algorithmic trading, it really is sort of irrelevant what syntax I'm coding my signals in, because the logic is something that I'm familiar with. It's my trading ability,
correct,
or something else. So it's really kind of irrelevant what I'm coding in, because it's my creative process, and I'm sure that a lot of other algorithmic traders would feel the same way. So
that's correct.
Yeah, so it's kind of irrelevant what platform I'm on, but I can understand why people would want that very easy to use interface. That's one of the reasons why I developed for TradingView and TradeStation as well. Like, it's just it's something that people want. So
right, yeah, and I think and that's one of the long-term plans of ours is to how do we reduce that friction
that's
from
great.
To actually say, hey, I'm opening an editor, and then everything I have to think about it. Is there any way I can minimize that to say simple Q&A or whatever TradeStation does today, and it's been working for people. So can we take that and figure it out? So one of the things that was proposed was building a bridge with TradeStation. So that would expose a lot of Forex or in general traders to use the existing platform that they've been using against all the exchanges. So that is again in a long-term plan that we have. So, but you're absolutely right. Why reinvent the wheel again?
Right. Yeah, that's my view. I mean, it's really quite easy for me as a coder to feel out the way Python would work with the way I trade. So
yeah. Yeah, and you have to understand, when we started this, we started a year ago. So slowly we are realizing that there are only a few users out there who can code very well in Python, but there are a lot of traders out there who want to trade, not necessarily don't know Python. So how do we bridge that gap? So yeah.
I think the majority of traders are still in the everything from easy language to fixed to C basic to they're kind of a mix. So
yeah, and it's a hack, right? I mean that's what hackers are. They are really true hackers, and they're doing their best of their abilities to get to the point rather than worrying about Python or learning Python from scratch. But I get you, so.
Yeah. Now, do you have any kind of plan to add some sort of ability to put proprietary software on your platform for lease, or is that already available?
So could you be a little bit more elaborate on that, because I'm not entirely sure.
So for example, I offer proprietary algorithms for lease on TradingView. Yeah, and I would be happy to offer them on your platform as well.
Absolutely.
But
so we do that already. So if you look at the power traders, they actually have it in their own custom algorithms, and these are all quantitative traders. So to be honest with you, I'm mesmerized by them, but I have to say not always I understand what they're saying. So, but they have it in these algorithms which they offer to other people via trade, and the code is obviously encrypted. So all the code in the database is encrypted, so that you can't, even if it gets compromised, nobody can use it. And when you do buy it, let's say I buy from you, I can't see the code. I can only do is trade live. So that's all I can do. So that we had that from day one, because we felt like I said, a lot of traders wanted to trade algos between themselves and see what works best for them. So yeah, so you could do that very easily.
Very nice, thank you.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Light Presence and some of the work he's done as far as, and I see, the Honey Badger. I think, I know many people even on our Teamspeak channel, our Whale Club Teamspeak channel, that utilize that. So yeah, I was coming back to those featured strategies. I guess that's kind of a personal preference question, and then I'll bring Flibber in. But like, if you had to trade one single indicator or one strategy, which one would you pick? Or is that a little too pointed?
That's a very loaded question. So I think, in my opinion, there's no single specific indicator, in my opinion, to say. So for example, if we take a simple SMA, it is going to leave a lot of money on the table, and it might take heavy drawdowns at times. So 2 lines aren't enough. But I think with multiple time periods on multiple indicators can hopefully provide enough confidence to your trade. So for example, I wrote a momentum strategy that includes 2 SMAs, short over long, and MACD histogram and stochastic price oscillators. And any one of the signals is then verified with 2 others to ensure that is the trade I want to make. So those are the combinations I use in order to make my strategy more smarter. But I don't necessarily don't see one specific indicator, in my opinion. But there could be people out there who are smart enough than me. So.
All right, Flipper, did you want to come in, or did we cover most of it?
Yeah. I mean, what I wanted to say was the site. There's a lot of Bitcoin traders on TradingView. It's a large community there, and there's a lot of custom indicators people have used. And when we're talking about barriers to entry, I mean, I know next to nothing on Python, and I originally went on Tradewave and thought, wow, this is cool, and somebody had made a script before I used it. Anyway, but I have a lot of indicators on there, and I would love to be able to just kind of like have some kind of simple import feature that would maybe like transfer the Pine script or however it would work, I don't know, and just say, look, I have all these cool indicators people wrote, you know, can I just easily plug them in to run backtests on it and then ultimately run a bot on it?
I think that's a great idea, and I think a few of the users have indicated their interest in that. So we have what we call as the integration plan. So when I spoke a minute ago about the TradeStation, when I say that, I meant TradeStation, TradingView scripts, or any other platform that traders have been using heavily, whatever custom scripts that they have, to directly integrate our API with them. So that's one of the things that we want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. I think that's definitely going to bring, I think everybody on TradingView will instantly then be able to just go straight over and plug it in. So yeah, I think that's really good. Thanks.
Absolutely, and I think that helps us too, because we will learn a lot about TradingViews in general, the needs. So not everything might be obvious in the first run. We will learn from our users saying, hey, we want this, we want that, this will helpful. So there will be some incremental changes, to be honest. It won't be like a one-night thing, but we will definitely have a pilot, so that way we can invite users like you want to try out and then build based on that.
I wanted to bring in ABTC to talk about some of the indicators he was looking at beforehand. Hey, you got your mic? No. Drac, do you want to pick up on this?
No, thanks.
Oh, there is his mic. Turn your mic on, AA. Looks like he's having mic issues. Well, we'll come back to him.
Sure.
If he gets it working. So, what proportion of traders are consistently profitable on Tradewave?
So it's funny that you asked, because that pondered the question today. So that data is not public, actually. So in the sense that we have the strategies, some of it, like whoever wants to talk about their strategies in general, they talk about it on the discuss site, say this is what it did, this is the profit, and this is the drawdowns. So, but what we want to do going forward is, if you are making your strategy public, we want to have some performance indicators attached to them, so that way you know what you're getting into. But honestly, I don't know how would I get information about something that private, which the users are pretty much keeping to themselves. So maybe there's a better way of doing it, but unless I actually monitor their runs and make it public without their consent, I don't think that's going to work. So unless they consent to it, that's only when I can put it out there. Does that answer that question?
Yeah, that's fair enough. It was a very poignant question, but you did.
I mean, I would love to get the stats on that. I think when we go, I think when we go towards community, they have to, right? So at that point, that's one of the reasons why the marketplace is there, but it hasn't been. We haven't really put it out there, because when we expose a marketplace, there are some risks, because we have to make sure people understand what they're getting into, and today, I can say whatever I want to say. I can say this will do 800% return, but how did it do in backtesting? What are the so far, if it's running live, what are the performance metrics as of today? So those are the numbers that we need to store, and something that we want to expose to users. So if you're a public strategy, we will have that information. But we're getting there, so that there are some compliance things that you have to work it out. I just didn't realize how much compliance shit that goes on in financial markets, so I'm just getting to it right now. So.
Yeah, it's real enjoyable, isn't it?
So on one hand, I'm so excited. On the other hand, this is like bringing me down. But it is what it is.
Fair enough. And we've had Jaron from coinsetter on Teamspeak before, and I've met him in New York. Really good guy. So currently, what is kind of the relationship you guys have with coinsetter? I see they're the only ones that offer a rebate for using.
So James met the CEO in YC, and at the time we figured we want to strike a deal with them. And I don't think there's anything special other than offering, like you said, some rebates for trading. It just happens to be in the same city, same, I believe, investor, so we happen to work out a deal. But we would love to do this deal with other exchanges. But as I said, there are a lot of other features that we want to focus on, and now that we have them, we want to work with, especially the two other things that we want to work with is today, you have to go to an exchange, you have to create API keys, come back to it, and then put all the API keys in our system. So we want to basically make that seamless, such that you just use some sort of OAuth or some other authentication, and you simply just sign directly with the exchange and without worrying about the API keys. So that's something that we have to work closely with exchanges, just like coinsetter. So we are working with Okcoin and Coinbase towards that, see whether we can get them to do seamless authentication and authorization. So
yeah. I've talked to Michael and Charlie over at Coinbase, as well as Jack and Alfred at Okcoin, and that's cool that you guys have opened up that dialogue, and hopefully you continue to open it up to other exchanges, so
yes.
that whole user experience is much more seamless.
Correct.
And at the end user receives a better service from you. Yeah, experience. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, are there any issues in which new traders, basically ones that kind of come into the bot trading scene or programming scene or more automation, that they should be made aware of, just because of now you're using like API key, bot restarting, and stuff like that? How does that work as far as the cloud settings that you guys are using, or not?
So one thing that I always, this is my mantra for the last 10 years, especially when you're doing such a huge infrastructure thing, things are going to break. So you have to always code defensively, right? So in order to do that, we do provide bot writers, so authors in this case, a way for them to recover from any crashes. So we provided them with storage. We provide them with the state, start from where they started off, last exit to start from. Let me rephrase that. So if you actually had to recover, we will recover you from the last state you were in. So on and so forth. But you have to write such a way that you have, understand that things will crash. Sometimes it's not our fault. Sometimes the entire say, the host provider just crashes, or they just want to restart it. So that's something that we let the bot writers know more often. And another thing is that we are very active on Discuss. So anything that's new, any news or 911 type messages, we immediately post to Discuss site. But for any bot related activities, we immediately inform the users what happened, and then I follow up, and then our team follows up with them. Hey, anything specific that happened. For example, if your API key expired, we'll let them know. Hey, something happened. You need to restart your bot with a new API key. But I think like we're trying to make this process a little bit more easier. Like I said before, there are a lot of things you have to consider. So we want to add some intelligence to our systems, such that we like recently we added if you want to start a bot, what happens if it crashes? You can say restart it automatically, or you can say don't restart it. So options like that, if you give a little bit more control to them, to the bot writers, hopefully it can minimize some of that friction between us and the systems and the host providers. So
I think we're pivoting a little bit here to take a look at the fees for Tradewave. I think most of the stuff on that I have up on my screen is pretty straightforward as far as your packs go. But can you just kind of take us through that a little bit, just to get some clarity as far as what you get for each package?
Yeah, so for starters, backtesting is free, so I hope everybody knows that. So you can always sign up online, write your Python IDs, run strategies as much as backtesting as much as possible across all the exchanges. So there is no cost to do that. Then the pricing model is for live bots, because this is where we keep your bot running against the exchange that you want to run towards. So you can see, like for like I said, $14 allows you to use one bot against one exchange with certain equity limits on that. And then the highest Gecko plan allows you to do priority support. In this case, you can directly email us about what happened. And again, like we have discussed, so most often people just ask questions there if something happens, and people respond because individuals have encountered the same issue in the past. So they'll let them know, hey, just do this or do that. So that's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yeah, so I mean, if you want to run, and we're gonna revisit this other features like backtest optimization, and I'll talk to you guys about that in what's upcoming, so on and so forth. So right now, the most popular plan, like I said, is $29, which allows people to do 5 jobs, concurrent bots at the same time. So that seems the most popular sweet spot for 5 exchanges, the most popular ones.
All right, Flipper, you have something to add here?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about the backtesting. I think others might be curious as well. And that is, when you're backtesting, say you're just doing a simple EMA cross, can you decide the entry and exit for those? Like, say you get an EMA cross and you say, okay, I've crossed, I want to go on this candle. Can you kind of like set your strategy to say, after the cross, like say it goes up, it crosses up, price is going up, and you say, I want to set my entry on this backtesting to be the absolute top of the first candle after the cross. So it's like the worst possible entry, and so it's like so when I'm doing the backtesting, I'm picking the worst entry on the next candle and the worst exit on the next candle to be like the most kind of like foolproof method of backtesting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so you're talking about backtest optimization or parameter optimization, right? So
yeah.
where you have a variable, a signal that you want to test on different periods, correct? I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah, so you could do that today. It's not straightforward, obviously, but you could do that today. What we are adding, and that's coming forward, is something called backtesting optimization. So I think it answers your question. So basically take an example of where you have an indicator A and then you looked at a period N, and you want to test how it will perform at N-1 and N+1. So how do you go about doing that? So backtest optimization lets you do that is you have a backtest, you basically just say this is a variable value, and then the optimization you give a range. You can give as many ranges as possible. It could be 1,000,000 points, who knows? And what would it do is it will just run through the entire range and it'll give you a performance table where it will say this is the best profit or drawdown, whatever it is, whatever indicators you're looking at or whatever performance metrics you're looking at, and it'll tell you which one got you the best entry and the exit. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Thanks.
Okay, so that's something that we are planning to build, and it's a little bit of infrastructure challenge, to say the least, because it's really, you're looking at 1,000,000 points, and then so you're running one strategy 1,000,000 times. How long would it run for, right? So we can't sit there for 10 hours. So how do we run that? And are there any dependencies between individual points? So those are some complexity, but nothing that we cannot solve. So we are working towards that right now. So you might have, if you have used TradeStation or any of those platforms, they have this already, something like Monte Carlo simulation or any of those simulation or any of the algorithms that let you find out, or I think it's naive bias or some other algorithm that finds the best optimal parameter. So yeah, so that's the next big thing that we are working towards. And I think that will truly provide some users finding the right optimal values.
All right, and we'll see if ABTC's mic is working again, because he just posted a good question. Otherwise, I'll reiterate it.
Oh, hey,
there we go.
is it working now? Okay, yeah. Well, my last question is basically how the Bitcoin market for the last couple of years has gone in kind of phases. Right now, mostly the sideways market. It had a bit of shop and such earlier. And basically, I just wanted to ask if you've seen any significant changes in strategies being dominant over these different phases. Like if it's been noticeable that people significantly changed their strategies as the market environment's changed.
I think I had this question, I discussed this one with a few traders, and I think according to some of the traders, apparently they are in so-called pre-bubble phase right now, which just started in June 21st. So obviously that's their opinion. But I think one of the biggest things that they talked about is the fundamentals, and I think like the question is like at some point we need to figure out, are we only going to trade on just technical analysis? Is there any fundamentals that we can grab? So it's like any news related to Bitcoin adaptation in mainstream and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of these other third-party, what do you call, sentiment analysis that's been going on, looking at if there isn't a good news out there for Bitcoin or any other big merchants have been accepting that. Is there any way we can take that and trade based on that, because that has an influence on the market. So, but it's one of those things where like it's really tough to answer because I haven't seen that many drastic changes, but I've seen a lot of risk management go up a lot. So a lot of very defensive mechanisms been put in place for such volatility. So I think that's what I've observed, but I haven't observed anything different than that. I don't know. Maybe you guys have observed more because you do TradingView. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you heard it first here, folks. Sai from Tradewave calls us in pre-bubble formation.
Yeah. So again, like I said before, that is not. I'm quoting someone else.
Right.
It's when I say that, when I say quoting, I mean we discussed this with other traders, and this is the consensus that they have. Now I could be
backpedaling now, Sai. I'm just kidding.
Short. No. But yeah.
I love Barry, but he's taught you well. So so let's. On that note, let's talk about what your vision for Tradewave is going forward. I mean, we say maybe 2 to 3 years out, and then kind of give us maybe a more confined timeline of some of the products that you want to tell us about that are exciting you and that your team is working on currently.
Yeah. So I think. So when we started off a year ago, 6 months into it, we realized we need to have a mission, right? And it sounds very cliche, but really, what are we driving toward? And I think one thing that we always want to focus on is to allow traders to write effective strategies, and that's the bottom line. So as long as we are focused on that, everything else to then be measured against it. So like we talked about backtesting strategy, right? So that's something that we really, really want to introduce. So that's coming up soon. And then also pluggable interfaces to existing platforms people have been using today. So TradingView or MetaTrader, so on and so forth. That's something that we are working towards as well. And then this entire seamless integration with exchanges. Right now they're shit. It's just not the way it should be. But it takes time to convince one, and we will convince one, we get to convince others too. And then the last but not least is the traders are still not getting the best, what do you call, a spot pricing, right? So if you're trading, at least in Tradewave, you're trading a bot on, say, Bitfinex, but the best buy strategies on let's say, another exchange, you're still tied to Bitfinex. So is there any way you could actually leverage the best price across multiple exchanges? And this is where the broker-dealer concept comes in, is that we can provide that, where we do auto routing based on the best pricing model, and you can then leverage arbitrage, price arbitrage, and among other things. Can we do that? And I'm sure a lot of traders will love that kind of thing, where they could just simply have one account and then be able to just trade that across all exchanges and leverage that heavily too. They can. So those are a long-term mission, because it's really focused on the trader, because they really want to trade, provide liquidity to the market. So those are the two things that our focus is. So those are the top 5 things I can think about. And again, as we speak to the advisors, we look at the traditional markets, how they do it. What are the things that they're doing for the traders? We can kind of get inspiration from them, and so on and so forth. But bottom line is, have an ability for traders to write effective strategies so that they can be profitable. So that's the bottom line.
I just wanted to step in here. I know we discussed it a little bit beforehand, but there's definitely going to be some calls to, Okcoin futures, kind of dealing with the margin aspect, as well as, alts. You can touch on that briefly, but the altcoin market. But really, our primary demographic, a lot of us trade Okcoin futures. So just give us what's going on with the pipeline there and what you guys are doing on your side.
So the Okcoin futures, as I mentioned before, we are working on that. So the implementation part of it is pretty straightforward. So I don't think there is a lot of it that we figured is pretty straightforward. So, but I think that what the concern is how do we provide when it comes to futures, is there any compliance that you have to cover? Especially now, New York has just recently released a bit license, which I think we have to comply to. So, that's fine. That's going tangential. But there are certain things that we want to look into. What are the things that we have to do with futures? Because is there anything, especially with risk mitigation? So we have advisors who we're talking to and see if there's anything that needs to be done baked into the system, such that users can then just write as they would simply write a simple strategy and not worry about some of the some of the risks or any other feature-related trading issues that they might face. So, but yeah, so the implementation is something that we are working towards, but it's just the compliance part of it. We were trying to make sure that we're ready to go public with that. Hope that answers the question without digging too much.
I just wanted to bring BTC Drac in. He had a question or clarification.
Yeah, with regards to trading strategies, can you use signals from multiple exchanges to decide on a trade?
That's a great question. So I think I was just mentioning about the ability to consolidate the exchanges into one. So like one of them is auto routing, right? So like just find the best consolidated book across multiple exchanges. One of the ideas was actually is it possible to create like a how uniform how do I say the right word for that? But like a uniform signals across all exchanges into one and be able to give that. So I think that's.
So for example, I look for confirmation of a certain signal occurring across several exchanges, before I'll make my decision. So. And of course, those signals can come at different times because, of course, the exchanges have their own things going on.
True.
So
yeah.
it becomes for me, it's a very profitable.
It is
thing
and it is a wise thing to do, right? I mean, it is definitely something that we want to observe and validate. I think that's what it is at the end of the day. So yes. So the answer to your question is absolutely yes. It's just that that whole consolidation of exchanges, whether it's data, auto routing, signals, it's just one big block of things that we have to implement, and then we are effectively working towards that, and we are very excited about that actually, both from technical challenge point of view and also what it can do for traders. So both.
Yeah, it's one thing, the traders, I always say that we always wanted everything yesterday, so we always become a very demanding bunch as far as that
markets
goes.
change so fast, right? I mean,
Yes.
you don't want to lose out on certain things, and if you had the platform, be like, yes, I wish I had that because I would have. I hate to see that, right? I hate to see like, oh, the time is, you had the strategy in mind, but you couldn't do it because it passed. So I understand that. It's just that. We are trying our best, to be honest with you. It's just like figure out what are the right things to do at the right time. But as long as we have the support, I mean, that's I think we want traders to be demanding. I think that's the only way we will be able to figure out what's needed. So you guys are doing the right thing. It's just that we have to figure out a way to do it faster.
Yeah. All right. Just moving on here. It's kind of the Bitcoin space is very fledgling, and we see all the competing exchanges. What do you see as some of your competitors currently in the space?
So I know of one company, CryptoTrader.org. They use this very similar type of service. They do instead of C#, but it's a different language, and very very much focused on quantitative traders. So that's their thing, and they've been just stuck. They're stuck to their model. Other than that, I mean, haven't really seen any algorithmic trading platform. So that's that. But like I said, I mean, we're trying to be both algo trading and just trader friendly. And a trader friendly could be like extensions via TradingView or MetaTrader and so on and so forth. So we see CryptoTrader. I haven't seen any other. I mean, there are exchanges themselves offering some lightweight tools. Then there's TradeBlock, which is mostly meant for institutions. But every day there are new companies coming through, but I just don't know how seriously should I be taking them? Because how far are they going to go? Who are the people? You know, it's just one of those things where only when I talk to them I would know. Because I do want to work with a few of these companies so I can, you know, offer them and they can offer us. So,
have you heard of Hasbot?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. What how do you, is it HK?
So Hasbot is an application where you can do exactly the service that you're offering.
Okay.
It's maybe something. I mean, they're very good. I think it's a German company, and you might have some mileage dealing with them.
Okay.
I think they also have I mean, their scripts are written in C#. But it's yeah.
I'm actually online. Okay. Oh, they are German based.
Yeah, we have some of those guys on Teamspeak. They're a good group of guys. So, but I always, you know, I'm pretty open, and I'm glad you came on. And you know, it's a space that it's not my expertise, and some of these guys know much better than I do.
Thanks. Yeah, I will definitely reach out to them. I mean, it's always good to know. I reach out to everyone in the Bitcoin trading, and just to kind of like start the communication, and then so I can, anytime I have questions, we can work together on that. So, thanks for that.
I know, Flibber, you just posted something very interesting. It'd be cool to see like few best and worst indicators for a set periods of time. Like see what like that'd be a very interesting kind of quantitative approach as far as, you know, looking over, you know, whether it be sideways, are we trending up, trending down, and which of those indicators seem to be performing best. Some of them I can kind of intuitively tell which are going to perform well. I mean, the EMAs and stuff are going to tell you, yeah, you should have gotten long, you idiot, because we're going to be trending for the next, you know, 2 weeks. But
the thing is, how would you guys know well for people? Because you don't really know what people's positions are, do you?
No, it's like I said, if it's a private, you know, strategy that's all yours, we encrypt that. All the data, performance metrics is only visible to them. But if it is a public strategy, we will be showing that information to others to see that, hey, this is what the this is what the performance is.
Can you tell me, when you say encrypt, then is that zero knowledge to you, or?
Yes, so everyone. So what happens is you, when you want to trade live, you basically give a passphrase that'll be encrypted SHA-256. So that means it's basically encrypted on the database using that passphrase, including the password itself. So it's a one-way hash key, right? So like only when we get the data, we'll look at the passphrase, encrypted passphrase itself, and then you put in your passphrase, and that we encrypt that, match it. Then we use that to decrypt that one. So.
All right, Flibber, you got something?
Hey, so yeah, I mean, just an idea. These best and worst indicators is because you could just do like the most common ones like MACD, stock RSI, and if I'm just thinking like for like link bait, because you know, traders could like link to it and be like, oh look guys, you know, whatever 15-minute MACD is the winning indicator right now. You're on the 15-minute for the last, you know, 2 weeks, and it's saying we should sell. And I just thought it would be like a really cool thing that people could kind of reference, and by referencing that, it would promote and raise more awareness of yourselves as well. That was my idea.
Yeah, I actually like that. I mean, I think right now the traders themselves post that online, like when they find that. But I think it would be interesting to see if we can, without actually, you know, introspecting the code, but if we find that, I mean, maybe we can do is we can provide an API that they can say in the code that I found, you know, I think this is the best indicator for this phase of time period, and then they can send that to us, and then that way it's still, you know, we never had to introspect the code. They opted in to expose that information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think ABTC just said it would be great for discussion. And yeah, I just think overall it would just get people talking about, you know, the results over the time periods, and, you know, ultimately raise awareness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would get, yeah, it'd be a reason, a quantitative reason to visit your site, even for people outside of maybe the automated style traders, referencing that. And if you've ever experienced traders, it's just one giant pissing contest. So we'd like to be growing other people's, hey, your 15-minute MACD is at the bottom now. I can laugh at you and shit. So. It's good. It's good awareness. And moving on, just kind of as far as like your marketing strategy in general, have you thought about an affiliate program or referral program? Has that been discussed? Not at all. What's your thoughts on that?
We are definitely open towards that, but we definitely are very selective. So it has to mean something, like it has to affect or at least have some impact or helpful to the traders. Yes, then it absolutely yes.
All right. Well, we're coming towards the end of the time. I just want to kind of open up the panel a little bit if I haven't covered anything. Guys, is there anything that I missed? Anybody? In silence. Oh yeah, the KYC requirements. We do know you're in New York. Can you talk a little bit how those implications are coming? Because you did allude to, hey, now it's finance, and oh my God, there's all this stuff coming down. Can you give us a little bit of clarity on that? Because some of the users may be concerned about that.
Right. So the way it works today is that we don't have any specific KYC requirements. It's the exchanges that ask you for that, right? So you go to the exchange, and you have to go through this entire KYC process to validate yourself. And then once you get the API keys, we register today by email and password and basically the credit card if you want to run live. So that's that simple. But I think it will, at some point, the BitLicense expects us to be licensed in New York. So I have to go through I have a call with the attorneys soon, so I'll have to figure out whether do I fall in the umbrella of that license, and if I do, what kind of requirements do I have to satisfy in order to get the license. So part of it is like holding assets. If I'm holding assets, I'm automatically have to get a license. So currently we are not holding any assets. In the future we will probably. So we can look at that at that point. But for today, we're not holding any assets. And then there's no any exchange clearances per se. So let's see how much of it requirements have to satisfy. So as of now, we don't have any specific KYC requirements. It's all the exchanges that have that.
Gotcha. Thank you. Do you have any closing thoughts here, and then we'll wrap it up?
So I think the only thing I have to say is that, like, I think one question was how does bot trading vary from BTC trading versus legacy. I think what I have to say is like the BTC moves 2 to 3 times faster than say penny stocks, and then 5 to 10 faster than blue chips, and then so it's the volatility that you have to take into account as well. So I think there is definitely the strategies that you build for traditional markets is not going to be the same for Bitcoin. I think that's the bottom line. So I just want to make sure people understand that. So those are that's kind of like answer to that question. Other than that, we'd love to hear from you guys. That's the closing thoughts. I would love to hear from you guys. I mean, I think demands is what makes us drive towards building this. So we're community driven. So anytime you have any requests, please come and discuss, post it, say, hey, we want this. Is it possible? And we would love to work towards that. I have taken the notes already for all the, already that you guys talked about. So I have that. But if anything that comes in your mind in the future, all I ask is email and password. I'm not I'm not asking for anything else when you sign up on Tradewave. So just feel free to post. That's all. Or tweet us. That's fine too. Whatever fancies you.
Yeah, I gotcha. And I would definitely extend that invite out if you want to stop by our Teamspeak channel, ts.whaleclub.io. Usually 100 to 150 traders there during these slow times, but many of them do use the Honey Badger bot. I shouldn't say many of them. A select few that I've talked to do use it and have talked to me directly about it. So just a place. And there's we have Kraken there. We have the Bitfinex guys, the BitMEX guys. So there's other exchanges maybe that could help those relationships, blossom as well. So Yeah, I'll go ahead and close it right now. I just want to thank from the panel, BTC, Flibber, Drac, Pip Foundry. This is another Hangout in the books. Good day, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.